Are you still on the fence? What are you waiting for? Go to AmericanDreamTrading.com and get signed up right away for the Gold VIP membership, where Mark McSee provides you with the latest news, updates, company profiles, economic calendars, so much more. Everything that you need to make an informed decision on how to invest your hard-earned money. Go to AmericanDreamTrading.com and get signed up today.
Welcome to the Aftermarket. American Dream Trading. You have entered the Aftermarket. AmericanDreamTrading.com. Welcome. You are now in the Aftermarket.
How are you? Who are you? Welcome, 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 everybody. This is American Dream Trading's The Aftermarket live chat and watch party. I'm your host, J&J Video Reacts. Yes, we are trading with no fear, ladies and gentlemen. That is the topic of conversation in tonight's Aftermarket Stock Lounge. Welcome. I'm glad you all could make it. Got somebody waiting in the back wings. I think you'll be excited about who this is. The last time they were on here, they just kind of blew everybody away. You probably got a clue down in the chat. And if you type in there now, you should see the wrench. But yes, man, what a day, what a day, what a day. I'm happy. I had a green day. You know what I mean? I had like 4 green trades. Most of them, 3 of them were in IMNN. How about IMNN? Huh? It went ballistic this morning, so I got a couple of trades off of it, and then I finished out the day with finally getting green because I knew it was gonna have one more run. With finally getting green towards the end there, and I just went on ahead and took my money and got out of there. I just wanted a green trade. That's all I'm focused on. But trading shares is allowing me to trade with no fear. It's a smaller position size, like Palmcoast was mentioning at the end of the Zoom. You don't really have the delta and the theta stuff to worry about with shares. It's a lot easier. So we're going to get into that tonight. But first, I need you to smash that like button. I need you to subscribe to the channel. I need you to share the content. Share it with your friends, your family, everybody, okay? And again, last Friday, I attempted to give away a weekly membership, but nobody put a 1. So if you are not a member, if you're not a member of American Dream Trading at all, and you're just kind of, sitting and listening to what we're doing, and you're interested in maybe giving it a shot, joining our Zoom call, put a 1 in the chat if you're not a member, okay? I want to sponsor a week of premium membership for one lucky person down there who does not belong to American Dream Trading. There are 3 links located in the description of the video as well as the live chat. That is none other than AmericanDreamTrading.com. Right now, let me double check here. Okay, right now, we're coming to the close of the day. This is for today only, right? If you sign up for a VIP Gold Complete, Coach will spot you a one-on-one with him. Okay. So that is a free one-on-one with Coach only, with Coach, if you get that tonight. All right. Tell him the aftermarket sent you, baby. Okay. It's got to be a VIP Gold Complete. All right. So make sure you do that. Get signed up. A one-on-one with Coach by itself is $4,000. Okay. So I don't know what to tell you. Okay. So yeah, you might want to take advantage of that. Um, but yeah, so AmericanDreamTrading.com is there. That's where you will go to get signed up to become a member. Um, Also, the Restream link is in there. So if you want to come up here, tell us your story. Come talk to us. If you're struggling, come talk to us about what you're struggling with. We can pick apart some trades that you've gone through, try to find out where you went wrong. If you're doing well, let's focus on the positive as well. Come on up here and tell us about what you're doing well that's working for you so you can help some other new members. They may have questions for you, right? And last but not least is yours truly, Rob InsoFlow. Thank you, my brother. He has already graced the tip jar with his presence. Thank you. I appreciate that. It helps to keep the lights on, quite simply. So anybody that graces the tip jar, I thank you and I appreciate you so much. Um, let's get it started. Who's in the backstage? Haha. Wouldn't you like to know? Let's bring them on to talk about trading with no fear. Where is my cursor? Okay, there we are. Palm.
How you doing, Don? Love your
I'm
show.
I'm good, thank you. Cool. I'm glad that you're on here. How you doing?
Good, good.
That's
Nice,
good. You had
nice to be back.
Yeah, man, you had some medical issues and we kept you in our prayers. You know, we mentioned you every chance we got. Hey, everybody keep Palm in your prayers, everybody. So we're glad that you're back and you're healthy, or at least
Yeah,
getting
I'm out the other side, so now it's just letting the rest take its course. But I'm good.
cool.
Around the corner. But
That's
other than
awesome.
that, it's really nice to be jumping back in and having conversations with everybody looking to grow their personal wealth.
Yeah, well, you were missed. You know, you were missed. So, but one cool thing about being here is we are definitely in that place to grow our personal wealth, and not a whole lot of people are privy to that. Either, and I remember being one of those people years ago thinking, "Oh, the stock market, that's hard," and it is, but it is obtainable. It is something that you can learn, and who better than Coach? Coach has a simple style of teaching. Like he said, he can train anybody to do anything anywhere at any time if he knows all about it. So he's managed to turn a lot of us that had no experience trading into traders, into day traders, not call out chasers, actual traders. So shout out to you, Coach. Coach is a 32-year stock market veteran named Chad Christian, and he has brought together this amazing group called American Dream Trading. Talk about community. It's way more than just a regular, it's a family. We have really become a family. And Thursday, we are celebrating our 2-year anniversary of being live. So be there. You need to be there. You need to come on here, and Coach will be here, and everybody will be here, and it'll be fantastic. We're going to tell stories. We're going to have testimonials. He's going to do some giveaways. So please make sure that you're here Thursday to help us celebrate 2 years of American Dream Trading being live. Palm, how'd you do today, man? Did you kill it as usual?
I don't know about killed it. I wound up talking a lot today, but got 2,800 out of the chute, and then added about another 1,400 over the course of the day.
Oh, nice,
So,
nice, nice,
but it
nice.
worked out pretty good. Really nice trends to follow today. We Nvidia, SPY, some of these things. The market started off the green side, and we talked early on about not having predisposed thinking as to what the market's going to do, just because it starts off to the upside, and what happens
Right.
after the bell and stuff, it turns into a different market and stuff. So if you stuck with it, and you got, maybe you got a bounce to the upside, at the opening bell, but then once that turned against things, a lot of the securities went under VWAP, and then on those breaks to the downside if people got in them and stayed with them and didn't let fear get the best of them on the way out, or those little breathe backs. Then people had some pretty productive days and stuff. Kind of segue into what you're talking about with fear.
Oh my goodness, man. I gotta tell you. I did something today, and I did kind of go against what I said I was gonna do. But I'm kind of glad it worked out the way it did. I was determined today to not do any options, not even look at options. And it was so strange. Just now listening to you, hearing you talk about IW, SPY, Tesla, different. I'm like, wow, I didn't even look at any of that today. But I did when SPY started dropping. I did go. I did go look at that, and I made $10 off of it real quick. I couldn't help it. When SPY
Yeah,
drops like that, you have got to take advantage of that. I love that I do have the options experience, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to take advantage of opportunities like that. I'm like, listen, I'm only focusing on shares. I'm loving this. I'm feeling stress free. I'm trading with no fear because I don't like data. I don't like dealing with a lot of that goes on with options. And I'm like, this is much better for me, just for my chi, right? But as soon as coach said SPY, look at me, and I was like,
yep.
oh, candle after candle. I'm like, okay, yeah, we got to get in that.
Yeah,
So
the
one
setup was too
contract.
juicy, right?
It was too juicy. One contract. I think it was like $20 for the contract. I made like $10. I'm like, okay, I'm out. I'm out. And I really didn't want to do that, but I couldn't help that. I'm like, here's another way. And I'm practicing scalping. So I'm like, here's a good way for me to get into a scalp. Get in, get out, take some green, get out. Because I'm used to sitting in trades all day and I'm breaking away from that. I'm breaking away from that. I'm shedding, or I'm getting all the way out when I see the wicks. So, I'm happy with that. I'm getting in the weeds. All right. And speaking of which, let's have a quick little discussion about the topic today. So, the reason I wanted to go over that topic is because, as you guys know, a lot of times my topic is based on what I am going through, because I know a lot of you are going through the same things. And I got to tell you, switching over to shares has allowed me to really trade with no fear. Because it's 1-to-1. So when it goes against me, yeah, it's not a good thing. And I don't sit in it like I used to sit in losing trades. But at least if I'm looking at the indicators properly and it's telling me, okay, stay in here a little bit. It's not a full reversal. It's above the 9 and all that good stuff. Then at least I didn't have it where now have to go double, to the upside in order to get my money back. That doesn't happen with shares because it's 1-for-1.
Yeah.
So I do love that about shares. It makes me able to trade with a lot less fear. Okay. Also, another thing you want to look at with no fear is you want to make sure that you're using proper risk management. Okay. If you have a stop set in place, and I'm not talking about hardcore scalpers, I'm talking about people that are sitting in the EWO and people that are doing like an extended scalp. You want to have like a trailing stop, some type of stop loss. Put risk management in there, guys. Just because you're in a trade with $500 of your money doesn't have to mean that you have to risk the whole 500. Put a 10% loss in there so that you're only losing $50 if it comes back on you. You know what I mean? If that much, So proper risk management will help you trade with a lot less fear. Okay. Also, if you go in a lot smaller, that coach doesn't say Danny DeVito for no reason. Position size is huge. Go in, if you're normally going in with 10 contracts, go in with 5. If you're normally going in with 5, go in with 3 so that you can shed, right? Position size is huge. Don't trade. I trade right now $1 to $5 stocks, and I'm only getting a couple of shares each. What's my max loss there? Maybe $5. You think I'm scared to lose $5? So it all depends on what you're doing. Position size is huge. And last but not least, no emotion allowed. Okay, you got to pull the emotion out of it. Am I robotic? No. I'm probably one of the most emotional people there is. I'm a Cancer. Come on, give me a break. We're emotional. But when I'm in a trade, you got to put that in check. You've got to put that in check and just trade the trade. Just look at what's in front of you. The stock market doesn't feel some kind of way about you. So why do you feel some kind of way? It clouds your judgment when you trade emotionally. Wouldn't you agree with that, Palm?
Absolutely. So is there any tips or tricks that you can share with people how you set your mind before the bell rings, or anything that you do to focus on, or kind of
Yoga,
any mental
yoga.
preparation? Yoga.
You know what I do? I try to write out my trades before I do them. Like I'll go look in the pre-market and I will literally look at where I want to get in. Once I do that and I determine where I want to get in, I figure, okay, how much money are you trying to make here? Right? You want to make $1, $2, 10 cents, what? And I'll look at the resistance over on the other side of the L2, and I'll try to make the run wherever that first level of resistance is. I'm like, okay, if this pans out, this is a 20-cent run. So I plan my trades. That helps me to go in and just be focused. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching it. And, if it pulls back before that, at least I try to get out green, even if I don't make the 20 cents. If I make 10, oh, well, at least I'm green. So
Yeah,
planning,
yeah, you bring up something that Coach talks about often, and that's it, one of two of the most important things that you can do is once you enter a trade is A, knowing where you're going to get in and not chase. B, and once you get into a trade, you should know when you get into that trade where you plan on getting out,
yeah,
or what indicators you're looking for to get out. And then C, to reduce that stress and emotion, as soon as you get in, the first thing you do is set your stop, right?
yep,
So, I mean, I think as soon as I set that stop, my 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 mental
level
pressure
of
drops.
anxiety. Yeah,
Yeah, I once I get in, it's like, okay, I'm great. It's great. I'm glad I got my position. Next thing is protect risk. Like you said, risk management, and then pursuing it. If the market goes against me, I'm safe. I wait for another setup. If not, I move through it and go through it. But yeah, following the rules is definitely a big part of it. And
yeah,
then the other thing is when the trade starts moving in my direction, if there's a nice leading candle in the direction that I'm going for, I'm like, yay, great. And then if it pulls back, I'm using that half candle rule. So if it comes all the way back, it may have just been somebody exiting a position that caused a
hmm,
false move in the market. But if it's a truly a leading candle in that direction, and it comes back and doesn't break that 50-55% range, and then continues to go in that direction, then I feel more confident and stuff too. But all the while
hmm,
knowing that my trade is protected by that stop. And then once it starts moving out, then I start moving the stop further into the green, following the 21, and protecting it as we go. But it's just such a big deal, to have that one snap against you a little bit, maybe come back that 50%, and then jump out because it looks like it's just going to retract the whole candle or something. But if your stop's in place, you've got your protection and you can watch it. And the more you do it over and over, right, the more confident we
right,
get. It's just so hard. It's so hard to become mechanical about it. But the more you do it, and the more you have yourself protected,
yeah.
have your risk management in place, the more
Screen
comfortable you
time,
get. Yeah, screen time, becoming
screen time
mechanical,
helps.
and paper trading can help entrench that. It's like God knows how many years I've been trading, but I'll still jump in paper trades when things are slow, testing a theory and whatever. It helps keep that
Hmm.
mechanical aspect of my mind working while I'm still waiting for another setup.
Yeah, I agree. It's huge because if you paper trade something, and everybody says paper trading isn't the same. I personally haven't done it, but I know the fills aren't the same. But it is good for staying mentally and mechanically limber. Like I was telling Ange earlier, you know what I mean? It's basically giving you muscle memory of trading. You know
Yep,
how
it
you
does.
should how you should be thinking in a trade, what you should be doing, how you should be looking to get in and get out. So you do need to practice those things. And I choose to do it with a small amount of cash, just real trading, just small amount, so small, so minute that it makes no difference. at all. One share is not going to stop the world, but it is huge in the fact that I'm teaching myself mechanics with that. I don't belittle the fact that it's only one share or it's $5 or $1, because within the next year or so, I plan on having that be a hell of a lot bigger position size. But I've got to get it right with the dollar first. So I
Yeah.
trade like it's 10,000 shares. So when I make a 10-cent move, I'm like, yes, okay, that's good. I'm green. That's what I want. I don't look at the cash. So that helps me trade with no fear, you know?
A lot of newer traders too jump into positions. Sometimes the stops are too tight. They keep getting busted out, so they become fearful. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
the stops are too large, and then they take a bigger lump because they've either moved a stop back to try to accommodate, but they're doing that out of fear. So
Right.
those are two very early fear-based things. Or they move it, or they start with the stop so deep that when it does come back and move against them, they take a big lump, and then you've got that fear thing going again. So
Right.
fear and emotion and I'm gonna spread a branch just out a little bit further into luck. There's an awful lot of people who say, God, I would really want to jump into this trade. Hopefully I'll take my position and I'll get lucky, and this thing will continue in the direction that I'm going.
Right.
Um, luck is anybody listening, I want you to think of luck as one thing. Luck is preparation meeting opportunity. If you don't prepare, if you don't educate yourself, if you don't entrench the mechanicals, you can never get that so-called luckiness. You look at some people and it's like, my God, everything this person does, they're just so lucky. They venture out into this, they're so lucky. They take on this business venture, they're so lucky. They learn trading, and it's like, they venture into this and they became lucky. We've had some members that have really taken some breathtaking strides and just completely altered their lives and the people around them with newfound personal wealth. They're so lucky. They're not lucky. They have spent an immense amount of time and diligence watching hundreds of videos, listening over and over, preparing themselves. Preparation, luck is preparation meeting opportunity. So to reach that perceived
Correct.
luck, we need to focus on the basics, and that is always preparation. And if you prepare when the opportunity comes, then you can cash in. Like you were talking about your SPY trade. You're prepared. You're a disciplined person. You have been watching and tediously and helping train others and stuff. You're a very well prepared person, Dawn. So when that
Thank you.
opportunity came, when that opportunity came, that was preparation meeting opportunity. Your preparation meeting with the opportunity that was called out by coach and others throughout the course of the day. That preparation met that opportunity, and you jumped in and you made money on it. And some people say, oh my God, Dawn hit that trade today and she got lucky. She jumped into the right place. I got my ass kicked today and whatever. So if you're finding that you're a little less than lucky, it just means that
You're not
you just need to
prepared.
kind of keep going back and following the conversations and continuing to prepare and prepare and prepare, and then and find balance with those things as you move forward. So luck is preparation meeting opportunity. The more you
Everybody
prepare,
be writing that down.
the more you prepare, the luckier people will perceive you to be, because you will be winning more, plain and simple.
James L., what's up, brother?
How you doing, Miss Dawn? Palm close.
Good.
Glad you're back. Good to
Hey,
have you back,
James.
sir.
Good to see you,
Good,
James.
good.
How'd you do today?
I I I didn't. My day's been so occupied with trying to get everything prepared for the wife flying out tomorrow that I got to do a little listening. Uh, I did set a stop in on my Nvidia shares, so got out of that before it took that big drop and got some profit.
Oh, that
It's
was
son
good.
of a Well, I saw the potential of how far it could possibly drop. So, you know what? I'll take a chance. I'll put a buy order in down at $100. Guess where it stopped?
What,
Where
99?
where it bounced?
101?
One
Where?
hundred dollars and $100.01.
Oh man,
Son of a.
He's like, son of a.
isn't
Wow.
that crazy that you can have that much volatility in a stock and it stops within a penny of that
Yeah.
target price? That's
Oh my.
insane.
Oh.
That's crazy. That's crazy, dude. Wow.
But yeah, as far as the fear, I think y'all pretty much said it all. That shares still some fear, a lot more comfortable, um, smaller position size, even better.
Man, you
Have you
nailed
been
that
doing
right
So
on the
any of the
head.
waiting in the weeds in the morning with us?
I have. I still have a
How's it
tendency of
working
getting
out
out
for
too
you?
early, but
Okay. Are you getting out
get
green?
getting out green. Uh, I do. I've also gotten out too early in the red, and it bounced back.
I
But
got you. I got you.
you know, yeah, I've been giving myself a 2 cent variable. If it goes 11 cents in the red, I'm out. If it
Hmm.
goes 10, 12, 15 cents in the green, I'll take it.
I'm
So
gonna tell you something about
it's
this.
more about the mechanics, like you said, getting in and out, in and out.
Look, I am NN today. I had like two trays this morning that I took like literally like $2 or $3 off of it, right? $2 or $3 runs, like twice. And it started going down and it just dropped, drop, 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 drop. And I said, you know something? Normally I would just go ahead and take the every time I decided to get out of that thing, I kept looking at the indicator and I kept looking at what it did this morning. And it did that. I went back in the history a few days and saw that it has a habit of dropping, but then having these nice long runs again. So I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let this trade work itself out because I have a feeling, and this wasn't hopium, this was on starting it out, that it was going. Now we don't know what stocks are going to do. So yeah, I guess there was a degree of hopium, but the way that I saw it, especially this time, what things do towards the aftermarket, they tend to run up. I, I said, you know what, power hour, this thing's going to come back up. Well, I'll be damned if it didn't. I was down. To your point, I've gotten out too early where things ended up coming back and I would have at least broken even. So I said, I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to watch this. I'm going to see how this thing plays out. And I didn't stay staring at the screen all day. I did some other things, did some editing, and just kept glancing at it. And it did have runs where it would go up and come back down. And it got maybe 10 cents above my position. And I couldn't get to the screen fast enough because I'm like, damn it, I'm going to take that and get out because I'm green. I've been sitting red all day in this trade after making money off of it this morning. And I want my green. That's all I want. Well, no sooner than I got to the mouse, it like
Flipped
knife dropped
again.
right back down. Like, nope, I'm not gonna give it to you. No, 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 no. You shouldn't have sat in it all day. So I'm like, ugh,
Yeah, but
but it's back up
here's the
here where my buy-in is. So I'm gonna sit here now and watch this thing. And I'm in Weeble with it. So, because Robinhood cuts you off at that's another thing I like about what I'm doing. I'm not messing around with Robinhood. So I'm like, okay, just come back up there one more time, man. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a stop in so that I don't lose, more than what, 15, 20 cents on this thing. But I'm going to set it for 1 cent higher. It was only going like 5 cents higher. I'm going to set it for 1 cent higher than what I paid. And I'll be damned. The next time it ran up, it stopped me out at the 1 cent higher. I ended up green. I'm like, I beat you. I was like, it would not
well,
give me a green trade on that last one. And I'll be damned. It ran up and it came right back down. But because I had that take profit in right there at 20, I think it was like $3.27. It hit it and came back out. I'm like, that's all I wanted. I'm green. I win.
Well, see, and the beauty to that to me is that shares.
Yeah,
If you'd have been in contracts, how much
exactly.
further would it have had to have gotten for you to just break even?
Exactly. Way higher than that. It would have had to run up to like $5 or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no,
And,
I'm
and,
home.
and Palm Coast, I got to say that, luck is preparation meets opportunity. I like that. It seems like that's not the first time I've heard it, but I like that a
I've heard it
lot. I do
before.
know
I've heard it
all
before.
my
But
life I've heard, boy, if you didn't have bad luck, you wouldn't have none at all. But
I feel the same way. I mean, I felt early on in life my luck was shit. I was born into a poor family. I know what government cheese tasted like. I didn't have my own clothes until I was 14 years old. It's like, man, I really got shitty luck in life. And then it just kind of dawned on me. It wasn't. I didn't have great mentors around me or anything. But I'm like, man, if my circumstance is gonna change, I'm gonna have to reorient my circumstance. I'm gonna have to hang instead of hanging around with the same chowder heads that are throwing rocks into the ditch at the end of the day. Maybe I need to start hanging around some of the kids that were in sports and school and stuff. I need to change my direction in life because I just needed to prepare myself differently. It's like it wasn't even a conscious effort at that point in my life, but it was something that I
I was
knew.
about to ask you that because I'm like, as a teenager, how did you like? That's pretty amazing that you knew that you needed to change your surroundings in order to maybe help
I
you to
looked at
change.
I looked at my surroundings and I decided it sucked. And I knew I
Right.
didn't want it. I didn't know the path out. I just knew, and this is not even a stroke of genius. I just knew that if I was going to keep doing the same thing, all I would have is the same thing, and I needed to do something different if I wanted something different. I didn't know what that direction was. So, but the difference was I just started clawing my way in other directions, and they weren't
Hmm.
all right directions. Some of them were wildly stupid directions. Like as a very young person, it's like the neighborhood was starting to get built up around us. I won't go into a long explanation on this, but for instance, there was a guy come around. He was throwing newspapers at all 14 homes in our neighborhood, and I said, "Is there like a paper route for this?" And that's like, okay, well, there's some money, even if it's $5 a month. But as the
Yeah.
homes grew up, every time somebody moved into a house, I was there banging on their door that same night, asking them if they wanted a stupid newspaper when it was carrying the stuff on my bike. Over the course of a few years' time, that turned into 6 paper routes. I had my brothers working with me. My next youngest brother, we were double bagging right after school. One bag over his shoulder. Delivering newspapers and stuff, and going to the pool. And um, but it's just I knew I needed to do something different. It's like if I didn't want to wear hand-me-downs, I was going to do something so I didn't have to wear hand-me-downs. If there was an opportunity to cut grass, I would go and cut people's front lawn after I was done cutting, and I would go bang on the door and just let them know I cut the front lawn. There was no charge for it, but if they wanted to tip me, then that was fine. So it's like it wasn't all genius. It wasn't all like super profiteering, but it was just I was so hungry for something different. I had to just start clawing my way in finding something different.
That was
And I
awesome.
and I feel a lot of people are unhappy with um, either politics or market conditions or their 401ks, and they wouldn't be necessarily. And I think that some people come because they scroll across, some of these through your after hours show, or they see an ad, or maybe they stumble into coaches live in the morning or something, and that's attractive. But then I think there's an awful lot of people who come across those things and they're just sick and tired of, my 401k gave me 6% this year, and if I do this for 30 years, then hopefully I'll have enough to where I can have some sort of retirement and stuff. And I think a lot of
Hmm.
people are like, there's got to be something better. There's got to be a better way.
Yeah.
And the people that are smart about it are the people that are taking memberships, joining the VIP, because they're grasping and clawing at a better financial understanding and a better way into their future. Even though they know that it's not all going to be perfect up front, they're still grasping, clawing, reaching, hungry, and they want to
Absolutely.
make a difference with the money in their life. And I don't give a shit if it takes 6 months. I don't care if it takes a year. I don't care if it takes a year and a half for me to get my head around the fact that I need to wait for the 9 and the 21 to cross on a chart. You know,
Right.
it's
Right.
like, and it's like, it's like I've been trading some hot stock picks or something like that, and those don't react the same way. And goddamn it, Nvidia or stock slid against me. And I picked three different bottoms in there, and I was buying something up against it. It's just kept bucking in, and kicking me
Right.
in the nuts and stuff. But it's like, but if I don't go through that, I'm never going to have the preparation it takes to
Right.
actually find some luck in life. Luck is a dirty word. Luck implies that we're stupid, and that just for some reason the
Things
bluebird of
just
happiness
happen
would
by
sit on our head
happenstance.
and
Right.
drop some money in our lap. But
Right.
but it's the
Another
most
one of them
relatable.
4 letter words.
Yeah, but it's the most relatable thing. I grew up, and it's like I had shit luck. I was born into a poor family in a poor neighborhood. I didn't have food. I didn't have, I didn't have, reasonable food, so on and so on. I won't go into all that, but I knew there was a different way, and I kept clawing, and I kept clawing, and I kept clawing, and I went to a pizza place when I was 14 years old. Legally couldn't even work beyond 10 hours if you were 16 years of older, 16 years of age or older, and especially without a parent's written permission slip. I was 14 years old, and I just lied to them and told I was 16. And then when I put my name by the phone, and when people wanted to call off, I'm like, call me first. I was working 60, 70 hours a week when I was 14 years old in summer classes, while the rest of the kids were screwing off, riding bikes at the pool, building forts and doing some other things because I wanted something different in life. And that all didn't work out perfect. It's just minimum wage at a pizza place. But I learned very early, that if I wanted to do something, I needed to prepare myself for something different. And that meant it didn't matter if I clawed my way in 97 different directions that weren't the best. I
Right.
learned something from each one of those directions. If I failed at
Absolutely.
this or failed at that or failed at that, I learned how to do it better. And the biggest lesson is from the very one of the very first lessons I learned in life was to do something different. If what I'm doing isn't working, do something different. Tattoo that to your ass, your forehead, the middle of your nose, whatever it is. If what you're doing isn't working, do something different. And ideally try to take a look at your current situation, do that evaluation, and the more thorough you are about understanding your current situation with any problem, the better prepared you're going to be in providing a solution for that coming out. And that comes to trading too. It's like
Hmm.
a lot of people come in, myself included, with some entrenched ideas that got me the same results. I wanted better results, so that meant I had to reach out and learn something different. So that's why I came. And then as I learned and developed those things, then I can help other people explore their thought processes. And you'll find
Right.
when I talk to people, I don't just sit there and hammer through and tell them what to do, because it may or may not sink in. I'm
Yeah.
asking them their thought processes. I'm asking them how they arrived at those entry points. And then once we've explored that, then it's like, okay, well, what do you think about this? Or let's go back and take a look. Were you entering a call below VWAP?
Hmm.
Yeah. Are you a good scalper? They haven't really explored scalping and stuff. But if a person doesn't explore that in their own mind, just barking the directions at them isn't going to help. It needs to
Right.
be you need that discovery. So the people that we're discussing and helping, it needs to occur to somebody who's learning, myself included. It needs to occur to me that what I was doing, was either doing the same thing over and over, or it wasn't going to get me where I needed to go. So
Absolutely. Which is one of the reasons, the main reason why I chose to, go over to shares because, I was like, I understand options. I've had situations where I've made money on options, but I've lost more than I've made. And I think I need to go back to the basics. And, Nate came up with a way. Well, he didn't come up with it, but I know Jimmy was doing it. And Coach, teaches us how to play off support. So Nate found a way to make it really simple, incorporating the L2. And I thought, well, this kind of works for me because I don't have to look at those candles as much with the eye thing. And it actually works well with my vision to see the flickering of the levels on there. I can for some reason my eyes respond to that better. So I thought, yeah, wow, this is, you know, this is working for me. So, and it's so funny because it's almost like eating your vegetables. When you know something's good for you, sometimes you tend to shy away from it and you want the stuff that tastes great but's bad for you. You know what I mean? Options, yes, you can make so much money. Yay, woo, $87 and I made 500 off of it and I only great, But
But
at the end of the
it doesn't matter if
day,
it doesn't work for you.
exactly. At the end of the day, I lost more than I gained doing options. So, not saying I'll never do options again, but I saw what Nate did. I saw how he mastered shares and took that knowledge and that mechanic and that mentality over to options. And he soared with it because he had the foundation. He
Yeah.
understood how the underlying stock moved. And I didn't get that. I didn't do that. I didn't gravitate towards that when I first joined the group. You know what I mean? And partially because, mostly what was focused on was options, yeah. But it wasn't like Coach didn't say, hey, if you're brand new to this, you need to try shares first. And it didn't help that the first thing I learned from somebody else a long time ago was how to do an option. And I wasn't in a group, it was just a guy who taught us how to, me and a couple other people, how to do options, and I'm like, damn it, I wish I had learned. But hey, it's better late than never. And to your point, change it. If you're not doing well, change it. It's not too late. I know a lot of you, oh, shares are boring. No, they're not.
No, they're
No,
not.
they're not. Not at all. They're just as volatile. Just listen, the common denominator, whether it's options or shares, is that stock. It's still going to move the same way. It can still rip your face off. It can still knife drop. Just because you're in shares and not options doesn't mean you still can't get your ass handed to you. But with shares, at least you don't have the added um, headache of dealing with an expiration. You don't have the added headache of now dealing with theta decay each day. You now
It's a
don't
little more
have
forgiving.
yeah.
It, yeah, it's a little more
So
forgiving.
it's like, okay, yeah, let's go the easier route. To me, it seems easier because I've done the hard thing first. So,
Don,
but it's different.
when I listen to you, Don, I just think it's so wonderful. Every time I hear you reach back into your own into your own personal base of experience and stuff, I hear the same thing over and over. I did this. I found some success with this. I did this and it didn't work, and I tried to refine it and it didn't work. I needed to retool and do something different, and now it's working. And that really is the thought process. If what I'm
Yeah.
doing isn't working, I got to do something different. And if something different isn't working, I just need to do something different than that. But
Yeah.
every time I listen to you, it's like, if and it, when the because problem solving is overcoming obstacles, right?
That's
But
it.
success is hardwired into how you think, and it really is evident when I hear you talk about trading and obstacles and growth and successes and stuff. And I really think that's just such a positive role model for
Thank
people
you.
when
I
they come into
appreciate that.
American Dream Trading and learn to trade. So I
I
mean,
appreciate that.
it's just you're such a great host to be having for this program because number one, you're so relatable and kind and understanding, and your
Thank
thought
you.
processes are just so on point when it comes to becoming successful with something in life. So I'm always interested in hearing what you have to say. I'm grateful
Thank
for your
you.
perspective because it helps refresh and entrench success thinking to anybody that's listening, including myself.
Thank you, Palm. That's huge coming from you. It might have something to do with the fact that I read Think and Grow Rich at 18. So yeah, it's like I stumbled across that book when I was 18 years old and got engrossed in it and couldn't put it down, and have read it subsequently several times since then. I've owned my own business for 12 years. Jen and I had a successful delivery business. So, and before that, I was in sales, marketing, corporate America, the whole spiel. I've sold everything from vacuum cleaners to security systems and did quite well, because I relate to people. I don't care who you are, I can relate to you in some kind of way. And when Coach came on, I think that's what attracted me to him because he was so relatable. And I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to finally learn how to do this, I think this is the guy that's going to teach it to me because he's so related. He's real. I don't feel like I'm in some kind of environment where I'm going to be made to feel stupid because I don't know anything about this. He's training people like me who don't know how to do this. So yeah, I think this is what I want to do. And it's funny you said that about me finding different things at the onset, it may have looked as though I was jumping around doing a whole bunch of different stuff. Guys, I was trying to find my way. You know what I mean? I was trying to find my way. I'm not making excuses, but I was trying to find my way. Yeah, I did do a little bit too much jumping around. One day I'm doing options, next day I'm doing shares, and then I'm bouncing back to options because I'm trying to chase every shiny new penny. Oh, I want to be a scalper. No, I'm a 2-minute EW. I was trying to find my way. And I think I finally did find that with coming in the pre-market, watching the L2, learning the L2, and doing shares and doing waiting in the weeds. That whole thing, finally, it took it. It's like I feel like I'm watching a video in my head now. It's a zoop, 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 like the piece. That's good. That's a good idea for a video. Pieces of puzzle pieces just coming together, and all of a sudden, I'd have a piece and then that doesn't fit. Okay, yeah, let's put the okay. Yeah. That's it looks like it fits, but there's a little bit of the edge. It's not quite fitting in there. Well, finally, waiting in the weeds, shares, right? Small position size. That's it. It all came together. I'm like, that's it. It's been sitting in my face the whole freaking time, and I've been running away from it because I thought it was boring or I wasn't going to make that much money. Well, you shouldn't be focusing on money. You don't know what you're doing. You shouldn't be focusing on money. You should be focusing on the process. You knew this from other stuff in your life that you've done. The process is what's important. I used to tell people, when I worked at MCI, the long distance company, I worked in the small business section, and I ran a team of 20 people, and it was my job to coach them how to get a business owner to say, yeah, I'll leave AT&T and come over to you. Sure, why not? I'll give it a shot. But they got paid on how many lines they switched over. Well, I'd have people, I don't want to talk to this guy. He's got 2 lines. They got bonuses based on how many lines they sold. I said, listen, if you suck at selling, it doesn't matter how many lines he has. You got to learn how to make a sale before you get any lines at all.
Yep.
Right? And I ended up equating that to this. Finally, it dawned. You don't know how to make a sale after all this time.
You know how many people go into sales and don't know the 10 steps of selling?
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to go out and be cool with people and be real, and they're just going to buy because it's a good product, but they don't know the 10 basic steps of selling.
No.
They don't know
And if you ask me, I couldn't rattle them off, but I could probably sell something. I probably know them from just doing it.
Yeah, skip past the rapport building. You haven't built any credibility with people. Why would you stand out as anybody any different? But you were talking about venture. Looking at all the different ways. I shouldn't even say options. All the different ways to make money in the stock market and the different types of investing, day part and options and shares and everything else. And that's what I mean. And when I hear you talk, it's like you got to know that when you're clawing your way into a direction of success. And not you may come up with 30 or 40, 50 handfuls of sand, and not all of them are going to lead you to water and stuff.
Yeah.
But if you don't get out there and start clawing your way through those things and pushing off the things, you're getting a taste of this. It's just not quite right. You get out and get a taste of this. It's not quite right. And that's okay.
Yeah.
If you're persistent enough to know, and that's another key aspect of success-minded people that I recognize in you right away, is your level of persistence. if somebody's persistent and the direction that there isn't working, claw a different direction and claw a different direction and claw a different direction, but keep clawing in that direction, and with persistence, and persistence will eventually pay off when you find it. And you're right, 100%. I don't, I could give a shit if somebody makes 25 cents on a share trade. It doesn't matter if you can keep hooking that up over and over.
Yeah.
If you can make a 0.5% in a day, that some people are talking, oh, I made 15, 18, 12, 120% of these trades and stuff. All well and fine. But the reality of it is, if you start with a relatively small account and you can make 1% in a day, do you know what that is compounded after 3 years?
Dude, Ange is doing it. I got to put it out there, Ange. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what goes on, because Ange is doing that 1% challenge with herself.
Yeah, I remember talking with her when the room, a month and a half ago and stuff. And we were talking about simple, base hits and stuff. And everybody uses the word base hits, but something measurable. It's like you can get in, you can trade shares, and realistically, you can make better than 0.5% a day. Sometimes you'll hit 1, 2, or 3%, and some days you're going to get knocked back 1% or 2. But if you can average out 1% a day, you're on the path to becoming a millionaire. And it doesn't matter if it's 25 cents, $5, $10, or $20 today. It's just learning the process. It's preparation meeting opportunity over and over and over, and mechanically doing it. And like you're saying, with the, if you've been able to ease your mind and put fear back and focus on the mechanics, trading shares, man, that's such a sweet spot. Some people, can keep 14 balls in the air. Some people do better keeping a very focused and direct approach. How far did Nate make it never trading a single option?
Right.
He just was hammering shares over and over and over. And as he got confident, and as that continued to work out, he just kept increasing the number of shares. Nobody had to call Nate and say, "Hey, Nate, it's time to start adding some shares to your trade." What happens is you're pushing in a direction, you're pushing your learnings in a direction, you're pushing. And as a business owner, you know this. You get to a point in your business where pushing, you get a moment of traction, and then that becomes pull, and then it's like, oh shit, how are we going to fulfill these orders?
Right.
It's
one car. We got 12 orders now.
Right, but push with persistence and success becomes pull. You start getting pulled in a certain direction. So Nate, I'm sure at some point had that catharsis, that moment, and he's like, well, Jesus, I just traded 1,000 shares, and I'm doing this over and over, and it's like I'm to the point now where it's like, if I knock down 8 or 9 trades out of 10 and I'm profitable on these things, and I'm really finding myself in a zone, then I can turn that into 1,500. But the market is beginning to pull me in that direction. Then it's pulling me into higher volume. It's pulling me into larger trades. But that is the goal. As you start clawing and finding direction and stuff, you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing, and you're getting to the point where you're hitting green trades over and over. Get in, get green, get out. Get in, get green, get out. The candlesticks, the L2, and all those things are the mechanics and the tools that are helping you formulate how you're going to get in and get that green and get out, and the disciplines and the things that you're going to learn in American dream trading. Mm-hmm. And then that push becomes pull. And when pull happens, put on your goddamn seatbelt, because things just start to move. And they do, and they will. And it's different timelines for different people. And don't compare yourself to the guy that knocked out, X amount of shares or trades or whatever. It just moves at a different pace for different people. But it brings us full circle back to the point that the reason that people are here is, I decided 6% in my 401k sucks. I decided that that's not enough for me to retire on. I decided that I wanted more in life, and I decided that I needed to take a different direction. The different direction is education. And it's not going with a bot or a call out group, because if you're going with a call out group, you are literally gambling on luck. And the minute you're out of that call out group, or 6 months to a year later, when that call out group gets washed out because he's got, other issues and moderators, and just doesn't feel like, even showing up for YouTube one day because he went back to his 9-to-5 job or something like that, then you're out of luck, aren't you? When you come to American Dream Trading, you're getting educated. You are cementing things in your mind that will last you a lifetime. And with persistence, you will be able to take those things and grow and take control of your financial future. which is why you get in, you get familiar on, on some sort of basic membership, you get a toe in the water, and then you start to understand, this is how I'm going to change my future. This is how I'm going to do something different. The thing I'm going to do different is I'm going to get educated. The thing I'm going to do different is I'm going to get my happy ass out of bed before 10 o'clock in the morning. And I'm going to see how the day blossoms financially, and I'm going to watch how those things unfold. So yes. And then as you do those things over and over and over again, your fear will diminish. The more persistent you are, the more disciplined you are, the more you get used to putting your stop in place as soon as you place a trade and not moving it, your fear will subside. And then as you make more and more green trades, when that push becomes pull, I got to tell you, fear becomes happiness and euphoria, because you see your personal financial growth blossoming and blooming right before your very own eyes. And that corner does come. It might be 25 cents today, it might be $5, it might be $10. But just doing it over and over and over, those amounts are going to change. Like Dawn and I had a conversation a couple months ago about, Tesla was moving like $10 a day almost every single day. Well, shit, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that at the end of 10 days, if you just traded one share of Tesla, you would have doubled your account in a month,
Right.
or at least grown it by 50%, trading one share of Tesla. And yeah, it was expensive, and yeah, you can go buy 30-cent shares and stuff, but it was just an example.
Yeah.
But so yes, I mean, you're talking about the potential, not financial tax or investment advice, blah blah blah, no guaranteed results, and blah blah blah. But if you're preparing yourself and observing and clawing your way in that direction, and understanding and learning the charts and stuff, I mean, you think about it, it's like, when was the last time your 401k blew up 50% in a month?
Right.
You're talking about a starter account with a relatively small amount, and then you're like, well, shit, now I got 2 shares of Tesla. It's like, or I got a share and a half's worth. Maybe I'm gonna go over to the Nvidia shelf for a while and apply the same learnings and stuff. So, but it subsides with mental preparation and execution. So there's and I'm going to step onto this one topic because it's like, I know I've been rambling a little bit. So there's a difference between
please ramble. I love it.
There's a difference between participation and execution in the world of business. There are people who participate, and if you participate, you probably get some modest reward. No matter what you do, you show up, you play a softball game, you participate, you get a cold beer afterwards. Congratulations. You show up, you watch the market, you participate maybe in one trade. You may win some, you may lose some. You pretty much showed up, and you were part of the program. You got in, you listened. You didn't necessarily learn anything. You turned down the volume and you're watching TV on the other channel while you're eating breakfast or something like that. You participated. Participation doesn't move your life forward. The difference between participation and execution is, participation, you can get in, do something, and you may get something modest in return. We can all participate, which is why I hate participation trophies. And it doesn't mean that you need to have a championship trophy, but there is something in between. It's called executing. And when you execute something, you take something and you do it to its fullest, the best of your capacity, and you do it the way it was supposed to be done. So when you get in and you are preparing yourself, and you're learning the different things, you're learning about, calls above, or buying your shares on the breakout above VWAP and stuff. When you're learning those things and executing them, it means that you're following the rules and you're doing it the way it was intended to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So that's different than just getting in, grabbing a handful of shares and going for a ride. That's market participation. Not knowing where you're going to get out, hoping you don't take a beating, dumping shares when you start to shit your pants too much. That's participation. Execution is taking what you're learning and doing it in a disciplined fashion over and over. When you do something in a disciplined fashion over and over, your fear decreases, to talk about today's key talking point. But that's called execution. When you are participating with shares, you get some or you don't get some. If you are executing the plan with shares, you're gonna be successful if you follow the rules. That's the difference between participation and execution. So tomorrow morning when you wake up and you're evaluating the market, and if you're newer to trading and you're staying out for that first half hour, you're waiting in the weeds, you're waiting for the market to develop a direction or follow something, or getting some sort of a leading candle that you can follow one way or the other, whether it's options or it's shares. Your mind is prepared, and you're prepared to execute your trading strategy. You're not just jumping in and hoping that things go in the right direction. And if it busts back below VWAP, get the F out,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're just doing the shares, or if you're scalping to the upside, know that you have that stop loss and put it in. You're
Yeah.
executing your trading strategy. So that's the goal. First, to get in and learn it, so that preparation becomes success. Your preparation meeting an opportunity becomes success. And then if you're executing your trade strategy, you will win. You just have to keep doing it over and over. So that's the difference between participation and execution. And I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care if you are a plumber. I don't care if you are a car mechanic. I don't care if you are in sales. A salesperson executes their sales program. A car mechanic executes that repair, does it the right way to begin with, doesn't over tighten, doesn't under tighten, seals things up, goes back through the checklist. A qualified professional always executes over and over. And here we are learning to become professional level traders, and we have a program and we can execute it. If you are executing, you will find success. If you are breaking the rules, you're becoming a participant. And when you become a participant, then you just sit back and hope. So
Yeah.
what do you want to do? What do you want to do tomorrow? Do you want to grab a handful of shares and hope? Or are you going to come in with a trade strategy, and you're going to execute that trade strategy? Are you a
Execute, baby.
Yep. Are you a participant, or are you somebody who executes like a professional? Everybody in the room has the capacity to make that decision to execute like a professional. And if we're still not sure about some of the things as we go, then we reach out and we ask questions, right?
I'm trying to see if anybody's commenting on this because this is good shit. I mean, this is. I mean, I hope everybody's down there really, really taking all of this to heart. You got to be, because that's huge. Don't just participate, execute. And I think for a long time, initially in the beginning, I started getting discouraged a little bit, and I just started participating. But I'm like, no, you got to learn this. You got to dig in. You know what I mean? And just really, really grasp this, because on the other end of that is, debt free, financially free is everything you've wanted. So you got to dig in. You've got to dig in and really, really get this. And I finally feel for the first time that I am actually executing. You know what I mean? With this strategy, I finally feel like I'm executing. Like I said earlier, I planned when I was going to get in. I don't just jump in, and I'm planning when I'm going to get out. You know what I mean? And I don't sit in losing trades. So it's like, come on, how long is it going to take me to get that? And Nate said something to me. He said, you're comfortable. You're comfortable. You have to get uncomfortable. You have to get to a point where your back is literally against the wall for you to do this properly, and I got to that point, you know. So a lot of times too, unfortunately there may be something in our lives that motivates us that is not really a good thing, but at the end of the day, it is a good thing because it made us turn a corner, you
Yeah,
know, and
I can relate to that. Yeah.
yeah,
And
forced us to
turning
turn that
points.
corner.
Yep. Yeah. Big fancy 10-cent word is catharsis from literature. A turning point, or a gift of desperation. Getting to a point where everything collapses from underneath you, and just knowing that you want to pursue life in a different fashion and stuff. But
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are here because they know that they want a better financial future for themselves. And it doesn't matter if it takes a week or a month or 3 months. Just keep showing up. Just keep
Mhm.
listening, and then do your best with the best that you know how to execute the best that you possibly can, and follow the rules. And to Coach's point, just I got a lot of respect for Coach and what he is doing, what he set up, and a lot of things that he knows in the back of his mind. He simplifies and puts rules in place, and it's based on knowing things that he's suffered through himself or seen other people suffer through. The coach
Right.
knows between participation and execution too. He knows that if he wakes up in the morning and participates on his program, then that's what he'll get is participation in the room. He knows that if he executes his sales strategy, he knows if he executes a marketing strategy, and if he wants growth, and he's talking about bringing a marketing team on and stuff like that, and um, you know, um, doing doing more to get more and having the business pull him forward. He's continually reevaluating and looking to execute at a higher level, and those things you don't learn from jumping out and taking a whack at something once. You learn that from from a variety of experiences and stuff. And I'm really glad to see that this is the one that seems to have taken off for him and probably put him in a better position more so than anything in his life. The
Hmm.
culmination of a lot of basics of understanding, preparation, meeting opportunity, participation versus execution. These are very fundamental things to an advanced business mind. And he brings those things and he puts things in place so that if you want it bad enough, if you follow the things that are being said, if you can get your mind to hear the things that are being said, you too can take those things and it will be the curbs on the street, to your path of success. You can go drive around the neighborhood all you want on your bicycle, but if you run off the curbs, you're just going to be running through other people's front lawns. You aren't doing a damn bit of good. It might be fun for a little while, but you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to do anything because you're going to be running in circles. So the
Hmm.
reason he puts those things puts those things there, puts the rules in, the different indicators and stuff like that, is to provide it, the curbs along the street to on the path to your financial success. Don't disrespect those curbs. Don't disrespect those gutters. You're just going to wind up with a busted front wheel and pissed off. And I think we've all done it, myself included. Not I think I know. God knows if I go rogue or I f something up or go outside, paint outside the lines based on an emotion instead of the facts that are in front of me. It's like, whoop, kick me right in the shins. So
Right.
yeah, no doubt about it. But fear subsides. I mean, it's just such a great topic. Fear subsides with preparation. Fear subsides with staying within that framework of rules. Fear subsides when you execute instead of just participate or show up and lollygag around and stuff. So I've been fortunate enough in working with some very very large corporations, and one of the reasons I was able to move up in in the companies that I did, aside from owning my own businesses, was I met I met the people that worked around me, met them where they were at, talked to them about what they wanted, and some of them just wanted to do the same thing, and that's perfectly well and fine. There's a lot. I would say the majority of people are pretty happy to get in and get a paycheck and have things planned out for them and stuff. But there was always just a little handful of people who wanted something more. They weren't sure how to get it. So, and sometimes just unbeknownst to them, I would just start training them to do other things at the next level, a little bit at a time, and over the period of 6 months, 9 months, or a year, um, I would ask them if they wanted more opportunity, and they're like, "Oh no, I don't know if I want all that opportunity." I'm like, over the course of the last year, you've learned how to do this, and you can do it really well. Yep. You learned how to do this, and you could do it really well, right? Yep. You could do this, and you can do it really well, right? No questions asked. I mean, if I ask you to do this, you can do this, right? You can handle this and this and this and this, and they're thinking back. I'm like, yeah, 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 yeah. I go, it's not by accident. You have the capacity. I've been training you to do things. You voiced that you wanted more. And now it's time just to take the paycheck and start doing it. And they're
Yeah.
like, I never thought about that. I brought so many people up behind me that had capacity or desire. And you would not believe the people that performed beyond what they thought their ability was, or they had pigeonholed their mentality to that. This was all they were going to do. So when I started working with a 65-year-old hairdresser who basically was in retirement, living off of her husband's pension, and then 3 years later handed her the keys to a store as a store manager, she was flabbergasted, making
Nice.
4 to 5 times what she was as a part-time clerk, and loving what she was doing and interacting with people, and happy and continued on. I didn't push her; she was happy doing it, and she enjoyed the challenge, and she felt a sense of purpose and fulfillment. And I did that with a lot of people. So that was how I moved myself. Is I took the people that wanted more, and I put them in a position to succeed. They weren't just participating anymore; they were executing. They were executing all the things that they were asked to do, and all of it
Mhm.
was within their ability. And I got to tell you, when you get a bunch of people that are capable, and you train them to basically do your job, guess what? Guess what? And you got 8 people that can do your job underneath you, and you have a good working relationship with them, and your numbers are stellar. You can't give it to anybody else. You know?
That's it.
Well, yeah, it's I've had some pretty, and aside from that, I've also owned several of my own small businesses and stuff. But so yeah, it's like some of the things we're talking about is some of the same things. I've sat in rooms full of managers and district managers and had the same conversations. What are you doing? Are you showing up and participating, or are you executing? What do you want in life? How do you get those things? And the same thing holds true. It doesn't mean that you're looking to be a regional manager of a business tomorrow. You're looking to take control of your financial future, and the recipe is always the same. And this is a fairly fundamental way of doing it. You just got to get out of your own way.
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
like if a person has entrenched ideas, the first challenge is to I heard it a lot when I first started coming around. Empty your cup. Oh, it's so freaking hard to do. It's so hard to say, oh, I'm in here, everybody's making money. I want to make money too. I just did the same fucking thing and now I lost money. Right? Right?
Right.
It's
Right.
like, oh, tomorrow's gonna be a better day. It's like, oh, everybody's in here winning chicken dinner. Oh, fuck, I lost more money today. Like, 'cause I'm doing the same goddamn thing over and over. I'm not telling.
Right.
I'm not poking fun at people. I did the same fucking thing when I got in here. Excuse my French. I swear.
Yeah. No, you're good.
It's like so many people have done it. So it's like, okay, well, so I immediately that's like whiplash. It's like, what the hell am I doing? If I'm gonna win, I got to do something different. And it's like that's why coaches got that rule: 2 consecutive days of losses. Go back to paper trading. If you get walloped, stop back and ask yourself, what the hell are you doing? Because you ain't doing what
Right.
you're being told. You're not executing his custom developed. Are you executing your trade program, or are you participating in a group? So, and the best way to alleviate that fear is to train your mind to execute over and over and over. And Don, I hear you
Right.
say it 3 times. You execute that over and over and over. And it's just so refreshing to hear. And you're just such a wonderful person to be leading this after hours group, because that's what you do. You live it, you embody it, you execute, and I can tell by the decreased tension in your voice. I can tell by your body language when I see you on the lives and stuff.
Wow.
You've just come to peace, and you've come to terms with the fact that you need to execute this trading strategy, and it just keeps going your direction. And it's just so exciting to see. And I love hearing about this when I talk to people, in the afternoons more, because coach has got the morning portion, and having some of these people come back and say, okay, well, I got this portion of it down, and I want to go over this part of a trade and stuff, and they're learning to execute those trades a little bit better, or
Right.
they're seeing them with their new eyes. Like you said, they got in, they effed it up, and they've effed it up a bunch of times, and now they have that moment of clarity where they want to do something different, right? Or they're like their backs against a wall, they've been losing some money, and it's like then their ears are really open that first time, and then they say, okay, well, that makes sense. I got to work on this, or this is what I got to do, and I'm going to go try to paper trade it, improve it, and stuff. So, but yeah, fear goes away with all the things we were just talking about, and it's not a big recipe. It's execution, it's preparation, and then over the course of time, push becomes pull.
Absolutely.
Thanks for letting me
Damn.
So
share.
Well,
basically, when the puzzle piece doesn't fit, don't get a bigger hammer.
No, get a
nah, I
real.
don't do that.
That,
Don't get the
that
tweezers
explains
or
it.
any of that.
Yeah, just grab
Don't get
a
the
big stick
scissors
and
and cut it.
in the hole. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
yep.
no.
That's 100% it. If it ain't the right piece in the right spot, I mean, you have to grab. You need something different to fill it, right?
Doesn't belong there.
It's
You
really
know?
that simple. Like you can get off
And
a
I
phone.
was the puzzle piece that didn't fit in with the options, at least not yet. You know what I
Oh
mean?
my God.
So I'm like, you know what?
Like
I found where I fit in right there. So
it doesn't mean it won't come around in the future. It
yeah,
just means,
eventually.
yeah, it's just just getting your head around the shares, and it's kind of a lot. You know, we talk about taking a drink out of a fire hose and stuff like that. But the more you prepare, the more your fear subsides.
Yeah.
Preparation, preparation, preparation. Learning who was it? David or Eric Smoto was in a hospital with a busted leg or something like that, and
Eric,
uh,
It
Eric,
was Eric.
and he was talking about, he's like, man, there was like 130 videos, and he says I watched them all. Is that the embodiment of preparation, trying to meet opportunity? It's
That
like,
is it.
when I got done watching them the first time, I went back and watched them and started watching them again. You know, and
And who know the crazy thing is, who knows the way the universe works, that whole thing happened with him physically, maybe to get him to a place where he was in one spot to be able to do just what he learned how to do, you
yeah, I mean
know?
that life is very strange that way.
Yeah,
And that may have been the motivation. He's like, well, man, I need to really be thinking. Maybe I can't go back to what I was. Maybe I can't do this, or maybe there's a better way. But it certainly opened his eyes, and he pursued it with he started clawing. You know, he wanted a different direction. He started clawing. He started clawing hard, and
hmm,
he wanted it more than anything. I got to tell you, sitting down listening to 100 some videos is not somebody who's participating or dabbling. If you participate and dabble, you will go backwards. That's just a fact. But it's
period.
like, but Nate, my God, 4 o'clock in the morning, that man is up at dark 30, and he's looking at the numbers, and it's like anybody in that room that continues to move forward, all kind of migrate that same way. You
Hmm.
know, they put themselves in that position, they immerse themselves in it. And I'm not saying there's sometimes that after 12 hours day after day, sometimes things just become a little clouded or a
Larry,
little cumbersome. You can start tuning out and stuff. And sometimes you got to step back. I'm not saying that the number of hours has all of it to do, but clawing that way, clawing, and by clawing, I mean just mean aggressively pursuing a direction. It doesn't mean you're on your hands and knees and humiliating yourself or whatever, but it does take being a humble person, knowing that if you want something more, you have to realize that you don't know everything about it. Otherwise, you would be there. We'd all have
Absolutely.
$100 million in the bank. So we got to be humble about we got to be humble about our approach.
That's it.
So if you're knocking down 30, 40, $50 million, I'd say, you know what, you can maybe
You
start
got
getting,
this.
yeah, you can start having a slight, but I got to tell you, if you start getting too confident, um, life has a funny way of humbling you right back.
Oh,
And
big time.
people talk about that with trading too. It's like they knock out 3, 4, 5 days, and they start getting a little cocky. They start putting in some bigger trades, and then they get walloped. And you're like, shit, I just lost everything I made last week. So,
Right.
staying humble in the process, character, it's all a lot of similar things. But today's focus is on fear, and the way you alleviate fear is preparation. And if you don't want more of the same of what you got going, claw your way in that direction. Claw it with some persistence and passion. You know.
Man, what a stellar aftermarket, Palm. Thank you, man. Thank you for coming on here and blessing us with your words yet again, because every time you do it, we're left better than we were before you came on. It's like, wow, I got a lot of just nuggets that are just
incredible.
running around in my head. Yeah, you know what I mean? I feel like I just went to a motivational seminar, you know what I mean?
It's just such a
You know Tony
privilege.
Robbins.
Yeah, yeah, I know it is. It's such a privilege to be able to share with people who care, and share with people who want something different, and share with people that want something as different as I do, and they're willing to give up something to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of money, maybe a bunch of time, but it's definitely, the privilege is all mine. That's a fact. Such a privilege to be able to share with people about wanting more in their financial future. So thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Uh, um, Let me look down here in the chat to see if there's any. everybody who. Oh, what happened here? Let's see here. Wow, there's a lot of comments down there. There's a lot of fire emojis. Somebody put so many fire emojis on that. That is awesome. We got Christy coming to the panel. Hey, what's up, Chris?
Hey there. Hold on, let me do this real quick. What's going on, guys?
Hey.
How are y'all doing?
Hey, how are
How's it going,
you?
Chris?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, I've only got a couple minutes because we won't have all the kids, so we'll be able to get a date night. We'll have the little baby.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, I wanted to ask a quick question to you, Don. Though.
Yeah.
Hey, what would you say was the turning point for you to realize that you needed to start following a process?
Constantly losing, you know?
Yeah.
And also not realizing who I was anymore because I was that desperate to get in a trade, whether I lost money or not. When I lost my faculties, when I realized I was going into trades with a bunch of fear because I had lost so much, but I didn't care. I was willing to continue to beat my head against the wall and try to make money. And when that kept happening and I realized I had no control of myself, that's when I had to take a step back. And I literally had to stop trading for a couple weeks. I mean, it's like an addiction. And I literally had to step back and say, okay, I've got to do something different, or I've got to walk away from this because this is not healthy. It's not healthy for my marriage, not healthy for my life, for my health. So I've got to figure out a way to do something to Palms Coast differently. And if this is going to work. So, Nate had been talking to me about waiting in the weeds. And I remember coming in September. I've been coming in at 4 a.m. since September. And I would listen and I would try it here and there. But for the most part, I just couldn't wait until the open market would come up because I'm like, I just want to get into some options. I need to make a lot of money now. And I would let things go in one ear and out the other sometimes. Well, when I had gotten to that level and realized, yeah, this is not happening. And this was what, as recent as like what, maybe February, March. I'm like, yeah, no, this. Mm-mm. I thought I was okay, when we got the car back and all that. I ended up still going right back to the same bad habits, and I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. I don't even know who I am anymore. So took a breather for a couple weeks, and I came in the morning and just started. I talked to Nate and I said, yeah, I gotta just buckle down and do this thing. I'm gonna put $100 in my Weeble account. So no, as a matter of fact, I didn't start with that. I just had like some leftover money from when I had money in there and lost it. Because I started doing it with the shares. I was just jumping in shares, and then I started cheating and trying to put the money in options. I was supposed to be in Weeble learning how to do the shares in the morning. And I started playing with options later on in the afternoon and lost. I had gotten it up to like $300 and lost it. And I'm like, this is bullshit. So I said, you know what? I'm going to force myself to learn how to do this a little bit at a time. So I'm not even going to put any money in there. The most I'm going to put in there is 10, 20, $15. One share at a time. I didn't have a choice. I didn't have the money in there to trade big. I literally had to force myself to only do one share at a time. And it's like you can do 2, 3, 4 shares at a time if you want, but you're not going to have any buying power. You're not going to be able to practice over and over again. One share. And I would get in, I would make, I'm like, 10 cents. That's good, right? Yeah, because Nate says, imagine that if it's time 10. I've got a chart on my wall here. 1 penny. If it's 10,000 shares, it's this. It's $100. If it's this, I got a chart right here. But it's all based off of 1 penny. What that would equate to. Well, in looking at that, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. The basis of all of this is 1 penny, which means all you need to do is be green, even if it's by 1 penny. And then you will begin to understand how to trade. We know the bottom line is to go get in low and sell high. That's the basics of it. That's how you become a successful trader. Get in low, sell high. You buy low, you sell high. Or if you're doing it the opposite, you get in high, or you're already high and you sell. If you're doing shorts, you sell low. So it's not rocket science. So I'm like, okay, what is the simplest way for you to get from A to B? After all the screen time you've put in now, all the bullshit you've done, options, dabbling in shit, which one resonates with you the most? Scalping, EW, blah, 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 all of it just was like, ugh! Which one? What's resonating? The waiting in the weeds. I kept watching Nate do it and talk about it, and I'm like, it can't be that easy. Because I'm looking at him say this is how you do it. And I'm like, okay, but what about, is it real? I tried it and I'm like, wait a minute. I just made money. I mean, it was 50 cents, but I just made money. I just did a successful trade. And then I started buying in and getting into it, and it was fun. I'm like, I'm successfully trading. However simple it might be, no, it's not iron condors and it's not straddles or any of that. It's simply buying a couple of shares at a lower level and watching it go out and getting out green. That's all I wanted to focus on. That's all my brain wanted to focus on. And now it's like that's happening. And I'm like, okay, now I'm like, okay, let's keep doing this. Let's just keep doing this. Just stay right here. Don't go anywhere else. Stay right here. I know you have ADHD and you want to veer off. Stay right here. Because if you get this right, and if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to progress like Nate did. You're going to progress like Ange is doing. This will be you within the next couple of months if you keep doing this consistently. So that's where I'm at. That's how it happened.
That's awesome. I'm proud of you. That's great.
Thank you. Thanks.
Were you just doing any stocks in the pre-market when you were in that stage of just doing one share? Were you
I'm still in that stage. I'm in the beginning of that stage still. Hot stock picks. So they aren't hot stock picks when we see them because we actually look at them when coach is looking at them. So it's the top gainers that are on Webull every morning, basically. Top 4 or 5 gainers that are on Webull, FinViz, but we're all trading together on Webull. So whatever those top gainers are, that's what we're looking at. And and this is something that Angie and I do. We hold on to the hot stock picks for the month. And just if nothing's running out of the first 5 or 6, then we go dipping back into Serve or MSGB or what, if it ran last week. We're just go look, keep a watch list and go see if it's running. You know what I mean? And if it's not, then stick with what you're doing. It's the top 5 in the morning, and that's really all we're doing. If they're running, and a lot of times they don't run and it's just boring. So we end up doing some training, just talking about the L2 and things like that, asking people if they have questions. But when it's running, it's really good, especially in the beginning of the year when Mark and Nate were training together and Mark was scalping a little bit more. Just listening to that is also what inspired. Just listening to how Mark McC became this master scalper. I'm like, damn it, I can do that. You know what I mean? I was listening
Mark
to
can,
that.
anyone can.
Yeah, I'm like, I can do that, damn it. You know what I mean? It's like I see what they're doing. And they were doing the slingshot. But I'm like, okay, that's a little bit too quick for me. But the waiting in the weeds, if they're doing that, that's making this look like just Candyland, you know? So yeah, let's do that. Let's wait in the weeds. Let's go look and see okay, there's 50,000 people trying to get it here. Nate says get in one above it. But why are they at that level? So this is where the extra screen time came in, because now the support and resistance training started kicking in, and I'm making it a little bit more difficult. But am I really? I'm like, no, I want more confirmation that that's a real order. So I went and looked for that level on the chart. That's something Nate doesn't really do, right? He'll watch the candles, but he doesn't chart anything. And I'm like, I want some extra confirmation. So now I just go look and see. And I'm like, oh, okay, I see it was here. So yeah, that is a valid level. Let me go ahead and get it. Sometimes I don't do one above. Sometimes I get right there. You know what I mean? Just one extra in case it dips down a little bit lower. I want to be one step closer to the lower level. But yeah, it's really easy. It really is stupid simple. And it's like people sleep it big time. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just gonna stay right here. I did something different this morning though. I was kind of chasing, but I was doing it to train myself to be able to move my position up and down on my phone, because I trade on my phone because it's a lot easier with my vision. And with IMNN, I picked a low level, right? And if it didn't come to me, because that thing was running, like running, and it would only go but so low. So the waiting in the weeds wasn't working this morning. So this was the first morning that I said, okay, I'm going to try something a little different. So I would see that the areas that it would come to, I would see where support was happening instead of being where I wanted it to be. And I clicked it, moved it up, and I would seem to catch the bottom of the red candle, and it would just hit me, pick me up, and then it would just start shooting up. I'm like, holy shit. I did it like 3 times. And I was listening to Mark. I was joking with Mark. Mark's like, I'm not going to get into it. I'm like, Mark, just catch the bottom of the red candle when it does a pullback. Wait for it to pull back. You know, it's running. Wait for it to pull back. And as soon as it pulls back, start moving it up and meeting the bottom of that red candle, because it's taking off literally as soon as it pulls back. I don't know where that came from, but I was wearing it out this morning. You know what I mean?
So you're just moving it up whenever the candle's coming down. So I take it you're doing that as a support area, right?
Yeah. Because when it was coming down, I was just basically waiting for the pullback, and then getting in at the bottom of the red of the candle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when it went up, it just took me with it. You know, I got in at a lower level just to get something on the screen. And then because it was just running, it wasn't coming down to those lower support levels. But I wanted in that trade. So I'm like, you know what? Instead of keep on setting my levels, that's taking too much time. Let me train myself how to go on this, because Nate always talks about that. You can just move it up and down. I'm like, what are you talking about? So today I played with that. And I waited for IMNN to pull back, and you could tell pretty much the areas that it was pulling back. You know what I mean? The support levels that it was pulling to. And I would just move my position up and confirm it, and the candle would tap me, and then the stock would take off. And the cool thing is I didn't get in high. I got in when it pulled back. So I got it at a lower level.
That is such a mark of maturity. There's so many times, and I'll be lying if I never said I did this myself, but you see a stock get a nice big leading candle.
Yeah.
And then right away it's like, oh shit, I don't want to miss out on this. So it pops up. You go try to catch at the top of the candle. The thing flushes back, sometimes more than 50% or whatever.
Yeah.
But a cool-headed trader watches that, knows that there's probably some sort of a pullback that accompanies with it, and they buy the pullback. So it's like I used to exclusively only buy the pullback. The only exception to that is, and it's a very rare situation, it's probably less than 1 or 2 or 3% of the time, where you get a stock that actually does what's called gapping up. Like you'll get a big leading candle, it'll
Yeah.
stop for a second, it'll bounce, it'll get hammered again, another leading candle, it'll stop, and it'll get hammered again to the upside. When a stock is gapping to the upside, it's a very risky play to jump into it, because it may just mean that in that literally minute and a half to 2 minute time span, other sellers who've been bag holders on that just haven't decided or haven't noticed it yet, or it's come across their screener where they need to come back and dump 3 million shares on it. So jumping into a stock that is gapping to the upside is a risky proposition. Getting yourself a pullback position when a stock is popped, if the price action suggests that it will likely pull back, and most of the time they do. But otherwise, if you catch the breakout and you enter as that leading candle is developing, you're in the money. You're going to be in the money pretty quick. If you let that settle and you let it catch that little bit of retracement, then you're in a much better position without having to get without having as much exposure. So the fact, what you just said, I don't know if I don't know how many people listening understand the level of screen time and the level of experience that it takes to develop. When I hear somebody said, I waited for the pullback, that is a very disciplined thing to say and do, and that is based on experience. So quite often, if I have missed a breakout, I'm looking for the pullback. If I see something break above a resistance level, I'm waiting for the pullback and come back and retest it to see if that new support level hold, that just turned, or if it's above VWAP, or if you're not even on the chart and you're following a hot stock pick. More often than not, you will notice that there is some sort of a pullback. And,
dude, that's so funny, because when you said try to get it at the top, I'm like, damn, this thing's running. Let me try to get. Do I want to do that?
Okay.
That's so funny you said that, because I'm like, do I want to do that? Because what if it pulls back? Wait for the pullback. That's what you need to be doing.
Right.
Wait for the pullback.
So what's our topic for today?
Trading with no fear.
So if we get a stock that pops up like that, and we want to jump in so bad, we have a fear of missing out, or we have a fear of missing the trade. Trading with no fear comes in many capacities. It's not just a stifling inability to get into a trade sometimes, but the timing in which to get in. So what you talked about is a great point of maturity, and it is fear that you feel when a stock, when you get that big leading candle. It's fear that you might miss out. It's fear that you won't get the run. A disciplined trader is going to sit there and let it drop back.
Wait.
If a stock gaps to the upside, that's just a whole different scenario. Stocks, when they gap up, it's highly unusual. It's very rare. And not being able to identify that, because candles are standing end on end, it can be challenging, because once you get 3 candles that are standing end on end, guess what it does? I don't care if it's gapping up or not, it's going to pull.
Yeah.
So I'd rather miss a little bit of the upside and get that pull, knowing that thing is going to get hammered yet to the upside. But but we've seen an awful lot of them where they pump up 2, 3, 4, or 5 candles and then they're just done. So chasing to the upside can put you in a bad position too. But yeah, you see one pop, wait for the pullback. Get fear. It's fear of missing out, fear of missing the trade, fear of not making money, fear of getting spanked. There's all kinds of fear involved in that leading candle. And doing exactly what you said. He said, buy it at the bottom of that red candle. So maybe it comes back, it pulls back, it bounces up a little bit, it comes back, and what does it do? It comes back and retests the bottom of that red candle again. And then you chose that as your entry point. And you know what? Your fear was pretty much gone. You were there was the fear it might go much lower. There was a fear.
Yeah, because I was watching it for a while. I watched what it was. It had a pattern. It would go up, then it would have a shelf where it would just kind of hang out and consolidate for a few minutes, and then it would come back. Then it would go up 4 or 5 more candles, and then it would be at that level. Then another 4 or 5, but the progression was steady upwards. There was no huge, knife drops or anything, and it would go up like 4 or 5 candles, then it would pull down like 1 long candle, 4 or 5 candles, 1 long red candle. I'm like, I'm gonna get in on the bottom of that red candle, and it worked like 3 or 4 times. You know what I mean? So.
And fear can cause you to set that buy limit too low because you're afraid of it breaking out.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Yeah, that's what happened initially, and it wasn't
Okay.
picking me up. So I'm like, yeah, no.
Okay.
But
So
wow, man.
looks like some of our panel had to go.
Oh, they're out.
Yep. They both kind of waved on the way out. So
See you
that's all good.
guys. Thanks for coming and hanging out, Palm. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thanks for
much.
having me.
I appreciate you being on here. This is unbelievable, and I'm looking. I see a lot of comments down there too. Let's see here. Let me see if I can't pick out a couple of them. Shout out to everybody that's down there, guys. I love you guys. Is that Coach? No, it's Andrew Lee. Okay. I thought it said American Dream Trading. Wow. Well, Charles, what's up, Charles? Charles said, Palm Coast, talk to your what? Talk to your evening and pre-market. Oh, okay. He said, talk to your evening and pre-market planning process.
Oh, as far as what I do in the evening before or pre-market going into the day?
Yeah, I think that's what he's asking.
So at the end of the day, I take a look back at the charts and just kind of reconfirm, what I could have optimized a little bit better. And then I take a look back at the macro charts, usually at a 5-day, because I want to see, especially on a more volatile day, I want to see where things have moved and how they've moved. Like on a day like today, I want to see if anything created any macro double or triple bottoms to kind of be aware if there's going to be a bounce. Some stocks did today. Some of them came up to double bottom bounces and stuff, and then pop back up. So I'm also interested in seeing how that, because there was a little bit of end of day volatility where things kind of flushed out and then they bounced after hours and stuff. So then I'm gonna take a look in the morning and just reconfirm if things are just kind of holding. I can imagine going into Fed Wednesday that things are going to be a little bit wonky. So that's going to push things out. That's going to be pushing things out of whack a little bit. So my pre-market tomorrow is just looking at the market activity and understanding that things are going to change potentially much more dramatically going into Wednesday.
Christina, what's up, girl? Hey, girl.
Christina.
Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey. What's going on? Palm, you look so breezy over there.
Nice. A little windy.
Yeah, windy?
Just a little.
What's going on, guys?
Just a little. He
was
came through
listening
like
in
a summer breeze, man, blowing
Summer
through the
breeze?
jasmine in my mind.
Summer breeze.
Yeah.
I just was driving and I finally got a chance to put you on. And I'm like, oh, she's still on. So let me hop in.
Yeah, it's just about to go ahead and close it out.
I figured that's why I wanted to just pop in quick and say hey. So
yeah, how'd you
Tuesday
do
or Wednesday? What day is it?
Today's Tuesday.
All right, so Thursday is okay. I was thinking tomorrow's Thursday. It's not. I don't know.
Of course, I think you crushed it again today, right?
Yeah, I did. I don't know how. I didn't even it just. I didn't even mean to. Like I wasn't trying anything. It just all of a sudden I'm like, wow. Yeah. And I thought, you know what? That's gonna be wrong, and that's gonna go away. I'm gonna end up negative or something. It's no way. At the end of the day, still close out 12 grand up.
Nice.
Oh crap! Nice job.
Yeah,
way to go.
Shit, man.
That's awesome.
It was that IMNN. That's what did it.
Yes.
I was out of that thing so many times. That thing was awesome. I hope it runs again.
I loved IMNN today. It started just dropping, and it's dropping even now. I'm looking at it in the aftermarket. It's tanking right now.
Is it?
But this morning, that thing was a beast.
But
it got up to like $5.
News, so.
Well, yeah, that's another reason I had initially stayed in it, because it's got it's an oncology thing. So, all right. I guess we lost her. But yeah, it had really good news. So that was another reason I stayed in that. But Palm, thank you once again, my friend. You always fill us with nuggets. I'm gonna go ahead and end today's stream with Coach's rules as I normally do. Everybody that's down there in the chat, thank you so much for being here. Looks like hold on one second.
Hi again. My wife's driving, so I figured I'd join on my phone.
Okay, hey, I was just about to shut it down. And
Oh, okay. No worries
yeah,
then.
yeah, no problem. No
I
problem.
was.
What's up? You got something you wanted to say? Talk to me,
Oh,
baby. What's up?
no, yeah. Well, I was just gonna say because, well, going back to that conversation, because I asked you kind of what your turning point was, right? And
Yeah.
I appreciate that story. That's probably you guys. You guys were telling me, you guys meaning the community, meaning you, Ted, Bruno, several people, saying, "Hey, you needed to focus on." Now they didn't say the process; they didn't use that word, but something along those. I don't remember what the words were, but not just a matter of jumping in, trades or whatever it was. And it took me a long time to realize that I have. They will have one. And hold on. And sorry, the kids are in the back yelling. So what I was trying to say was, it took me a long time to realize that. And when I would jump in trades before, I had a lot of emotional baggage that would come with that, right? Because of past trading issues that I've had, losing a lot of money in crypto, and I don't really talk a lot about it, but I had a lot of I would go into some panic attacks whenever I would enter a trade. And it's like, I could know how to enter a trade. Okay. I know what a good trade is. I could know everything there is to know about it, what a stock's going to do. I can have a pretty good idea of where it was going to go, but it was like the minute I hit that buy button, it would cause some pretty bad panic and emotional baggage and other stuff for me. It's like, I couldn't control the trade. It's like the trade controlled me. And there was that, fear would go into it. Anger, could be all of that emotions that you get as a trader, right? It wasn't until I really hit that, or it hasn't been until I really hit that kind of bottom, if you will, if you've got to make a change if you want this to work, of being able to realize, hey, if you don't follow a process, and if you don't focus on the process rather than focusing on the trade, you're going to keep having that. And what I noticed is, as the more I just did that and focus on the process, it helps me be able to get in and out of a trade and not have FOMO, FOGO, as you've coined, not have those panic attacks and everything else that I would have before. It helped me immensely. And I can say, I still have a lot of stuff that I have to work through, right? And it's not just a matter of, I have a lot to learn. I have a lot to learn, okay? Like we all do.
For sure.
But, I can say that at least for the last 2 months or so, when I get in a trade, I'm controlling the trade. I'm not letting that all of that control me. Does it still get to me? Yeah, it can, but I know I can get out, and I know when I'm emotional or if I've got something else going on in life, I can pull the plug, and I should pull the plug, and I do pull the plug. And just like there was a couple months ago, I talked about something that was happening, with me and my work, and got out of that trade right away and talked to the group about the stuff that was going on there. So I just wanted to say I appreciate the community and everything that it's done for me, and it's a really big step for me. to be able to do that. Really big.
Yeah, we
You know,
appreciate you, Chris. You always have a word of encouragement for somebody, and also a word of advice, and I think that's pretty cool because you've also been very transparent with what you've gone through, just with a lot of things, you know what I mean? And that has helped people relate to you. And it's helped you relate to people because I remember I used to tease you a little bit about the fact that you would overanalyze trades. Well, who better to talk to Mustang Chris when he was going through that? Because you had been through it. So you're always offering a word of encouragement based on what you've been through. So thank you for being a part of the community and such a huge part of the community. You can sit in the shadows and not say shit, but you don't do that. When you speak up when you know you can help somebody. So I love that about you. That's awesome.
when you learn something and you see somebody else in that situation,
Yeah.
it's nice to be able to have worked through it or be working through it and be able to say, hey, look, this is what I found, and
For sure.
then that helps them, right?
Yep.
Um, and it's just people helping people, which is really what our community is about. Which I don't think a lot of people get on the outside, right? They
No,
don't
they
see
don't
it.
know.
They don't get it.
Yeah, they
Um,
don't know until they actually step foot in the group and spend some time.
yeah. Um, but anyways, I wanted to come on and briefly talk about that, and just say, hey, when you're controlling your emotions, whether it's fear, whether it's anything, greed, whatever it is, um, that's when you start, I think, being a more disciplined, better trader, right? I mean, there is more to it than just being than that, than to be a disciplined trader. Which I posted a huge list in the membership lounge. I don't know if you saw that, but to help yourself evaluate about, are you a disciplined trader or not a disciplined trader?
Mhm.
And I still have a lot to work through in that, for me to be a disciplined trader. Um, but
Yeah.
that growth is so important, you know. And anyways, I know you wanted to wrap it up and just be done, but I appreciate you,
No, you're good.
Palm
You're good.
Coast. I'm gonna have a question for you tomorrow. Hey, we get cars stopping up there, babe. It's a standstill. Sorry, I don't want my ref to crash. She's driving. She's driving. I'm over here holding the.
Look, he's backseat driving and talking to us at the same time. It's like,
Yeah,
and
baby,
if you get
don't
in
kill
on
us.
this,
They're
say,
all
hey,
stopped.
honey, there's a stop sign over
They're
there.
all
Yeah,
stopped.
babe, down.
They're all stopped. Don't run into.
Put a stop in it.
All right, I gotta go. I'm gonna die.
Goodbye. Help her out.
Bye. Have a good one.
You too. You too. But you know what? And I wanna end with this, because this is another thing. One of the things that I suffered with for a long time after surviving cancer, like now 22 years ago, was PTSD. Um, and it's fear would overtake me. It's so funny Chris mentioned that. When I first started trading, I would get in panic attacks too. And now that I think back on it, it was because I was in with a huge amount of money that I had no business being in there with. I don't get any of that right now when I'm trading with a dollar or two. And I know that once I upside, David talks about getting itchy and scratchy. When I upsize, I know that a certain level of anxiety might want to creep in there, but you got to master the fear when there's hardly any risk. You got to master that right now with your mechanic. That's mastering that fear portion of it is like mastering any other mental mechanic because fear is not real. Fear is simply a feeling induced by a thought that you're having. So you need to learn how to control that, right? You need to change that thought, which will change the feeling. Fear can't stop you. It's just a feeling. And
100%.
that's, we don't,
So
a
well
lot of
said.
people let fear debilitate them. And it's
Yeah.
really just a feeling that's induced by a thought. Get in that head, change that thought process, and the fear will subside. Face the fear. Okay. But fear, it's just like a lion, right? That wants to eat you, or a dog that wants to bite you. You stand up to the dog. You don't show fear. The dog just kind of looks at you. It backs down. Fear's the same way. You
Yeah.
control that fear. Fear's not real. You know what I mean?
Feelings are not facts,
Yes.
and the numbers in front of you are just facts. They're just there. They're not going to bite you. They're not going to
Yeah.
hurt you.
There's
And
nothing
if
to
you
be
have them under
afraid of.
control, if you have your stop in place, they're not going to hurt you. You know, if you have your tools in place. But
Yeah.
feelings are not facts, and that's such a journey. And I think people will be on that journey their entire lives in a lot of cases. And like you're saying, you know, you've learned to master over the course of time, you know, to focus on the facts instead of the feelings that come with it, and put yourself in a position where that can be minimized so that you can see the facts more clearly and stuff. So that's just
being in the moment.
The maturity things that you're talking about and the things that you've grown through are just such wonderful things for people to be hearing, and especially people that are new to trading. It's just solid gold.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
It's
I
wonderful.
appreciate you.
Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being vulnerable enough to bring those things up, because that's not easy to do either. So
Yeah,
it
it's like
helps others grow.
got to learn how to be in the moment, you know, and leave all of that, because a lot of times it stems from losing trades and things that happened before, you know, and you end up projecting what you think's going to happen in the future. Well, if you let that go and that go, because neither one of those is real, the only thing that is actually real is the moment that you're actually in, and the trade that's right in front of you in that moment. It's not the trade that you lost money on yesterday. It's not going to happen if you stay in the moment, you know? So forward, backward, none of that is real. What's real is right now, you know? So I just want to leave with that. Love you, man. Everybody have a fantastic night. And I'm going to go ahead and find Coach's rules here. There we are. And end with that. And everybody have an amazing night. Don't forget Thursday, the 2-year, where is this thing? The 2-year anniversary. Yeah. Where are we? Okay. 2-year anniversary is coming up on Thursday. Don't forget, Dawn at AmericanDreamTrading.com. Send me those testimonials. Okay. I'm going to try to throw together a video for Coach, and I want some testimonials in there so that people can watch this thing and see how many lives he's affected. So just send them 30 seconds, quick 30 seconds, just something under a minute. Dawn at American Dream Trading. Palm, have a good night, my friend.
You too. Thank you again. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too. Peace and blessings, everybody.
Yeah. Hey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Never lose more than 1 to 3% ever of your total account value in any given day. Always make sure you have stop losses on each and every single trade, whether it's shares or options. Make sure you guys are practicing base hits. Don't be trying to go for those home runs. Everybody be cool with that. Every once in a while you'll get the home runs, but that comes back to our other rule. Let the runners run and stop out the losers. All right? So if we're getting hammered on something and it's going against you, just get out of there. If you're new to trading, do not trade in the first 30 minutes of the day or the last hour, ever. And if you are new to trading, do not use real money. You should be using simulated trainers, and you can use them on all sorts of different accounts. TD has them. TradingView, you can do rewinds. There's all sorts of stuff. Don't come in with real money blowing up your account. That is not how you want to learn. I want to make you a stock market trader and not just another call-out chaser.